Harry the Big Dog 100 video live stream challenge. All right, so this is 100 videos, 30 days, and we're knocking it out. Um, I was sitting here thinking, and I've had this conversation with friends over the years, and every year it seems to evolve just that much more. And it's on the topic of success, and I've seen a lot of folks who have what looks like success or what has been defined as success in life. They've got the fancy cars, they've got the riches or the lavish lifestyle and all that. I absolutely love that, and more power to them, more power to the whole shebang. And then I've seen successful friends who don't have any of that, and more power to them and the whole shebang. They are doing what God has put them here to do. And I wanted to kind of open this up, just a dialogue, as I'm sitting here, audience of one, and challenge the question on success. Is it really the way that you think it is? And that's really a question for you to answer. It's not necessarily for you to answer to me. It's for you to answer for you. I think that oftentimes we get caught up in the definition of success by everybody else's standards, their ideals, as opposed to sitting with it for a moment and hearing what the definition of success is based on what it is that individually we're supposed to do in our lives. What are you here to do? What did God create you for? What is your purpose? I have to ask myself the same question, or rather I ask God, okay, so why am I here? And then in that unfolding, for that answer to rise to the top and to learn more of who it is that He created in me and what it is that my function is here while I am in this life, to understand how to navigate that, how to walk in that, so that I am not distracted by the distractions that others' definitions of what success should look like for me is, and only holding fast to what it is that God says. And in order to do that, to be clear on what God is saying. There's quite a few stories that I've read over the years. I remember there's a story, I think it was called The Dream Giver. Then also I read this story, what was it called? I think it was The Lost Choice. And then, the previous video I mentioned, in the previous video I mentioned the Merchant and the Monk, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. In reading those books and in reading Ecclesiastes, which we went over that just this past Shabbat, and we went through just concepts inside of that book, and here it is, this king, Shlomo, or as we know him, Solomon, right? He pretty much had everything that he could ever want, and then some. He had too much, in excess, to where he couldn't have a thought and it not be fulfilled, basically. He was just that extremely wealthy, and at the same token miserable, from the accounts of what it is that I read in Ecclesiastes. Here it is. It said he had so much and to excess that he really didn't seem like he knew what to do with all of that. It was just too much, and it imploded on him. He had some, what was it, I think it was either 700 wives or concubines and 300 wives or concubines. Exorbitant number of wives. I don't understand that at all. I mean, one wife, that's enough. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just don't understand how a person could have that many wives and then be able to operate fully in himself and to be fully there present for his wife or wives. It's crazy. It's ludicrous. Anyway, that's just an example to say he had everything to excess. The riches, the wealth, the land, the fineries. People came from all over the land, all the provinces, all over the world to glean from his wisdom. And we could easily say that he was very successful. But when we read in Ecclesiastes, he talks about all his vanity. Here it is. He has experienced probably everything that anybody could experience, to where everything was thrown at him. And there was something in that just was over the top. It just put him on tilt. He got to the point where he was seeking after other gods, putting up idols and monuments to those gods in high places, and it turned his heart from God. It was quite interesting to read that story, and it it gives pause to the question that if, and I'm going to make it an I statement, and you can make that an I statement for yourself, but if I'm so concerned about what looks like success, and I'm so concerned with what others, and I'm not saying that this is where Solomon was, okay, or Shlomo, okay, that I'm not saying that this is where he was. I'm saying that this is what I hear a lot, though. When I see the advertisements, when I see the marketing, and I go through a lot of different marketing pieces and creatives. I have a swipe file that would choke a pot of elephants. And when I see the way in which success is portrayed, it is normally an external thing. It is something that is on display for others, as opposed to that stable knowing of the person for whom that success should be geared for. It is looked at from this perspective that if others can't see your success by the definition that they have of the success, then you lose your successful status. You're not considered successful. And I'm going to challenge you, and I daily challenge myself, but I'm going to challenge you now to revisit that definition. Revisit the definition so that you can stop for a moment and think and say, okay, do I first, have my purpose in understanding? Do I understand what my purpose is? And if not, then I need to start there. I need to know what my purpose is, because that's going to be the litmus test. If I am operating in my purpose, then by carrying out that purpose, success is guaranteed. If I'm not carrying out my purpose, then no matter what I do, no matter what I amass, failure is the reality. So we've got to look at, what has God called us to do? What has he called us to be? And we can't begrudge those around us for not measuring up or identifying with or fitting our definition of what success looks like. We've got to encourage them to get clear on their purpose so that they know why they've opened a business. They know why they have a family. They know why they're living the life that they're living. They know what true success is, and then they walk in that. Now, the beautiful thing is that when you are operating in your success, then you are wealthy, you are rich. And that spans more than just financially, although that's a great portion of that. You know, you can be successful and financially, wealthy. You can be successful and living on the streets. It just all depends on what God has called you for. What life has He called you to? And are you living that life and glorifying Him in that process? Are you glorifying Him in your business? And are you carrying out the marching orders that He's given you so that when all is said and done, He can look at you and say, "Well done, my good and faithful service. Enter into my joy." If we don't keep that in the forefront of our mind and look to how we glorify God in our very existence, if we miss that, then we will miss the key component to our success. Our job is to reflect Him. To glorify Him is to reflect Him. And just like the example of the sun and the moon reflects the sun's glory or the sun's light. We're supposed to reflect God's glory or God's light on the planet. So that way, when people look at us, they see that piece of God that happens to look like us. But they never get it twisted. That credit goes to God. And they connect with that and realize that in every walk of life, in every industry, or most industries, that there is that presence of God who is able to reach in to those industries to touch the lives and the hearts of His people. And if they're to be called out of those industries, then He does that. And if they are called into those industries, He does that too. For the season that He has them in there, for the season that He has you wherever you are, His calling on your life, when you operate in that calling, you're successful. So I just wanted to jump on here on this 44th video and challenge you to think a little deeper or a lot deeper on the model of your success and define if you are living it or if you're running away from it, chasing other things that have nothing to do with you, nothing to do with your reflection of God in your life, in your industry. Are you running from yourself, or are you actually successful? If you're chasing money and things, if you're chasing stuff, whether it's monetary, physically, mentally, whatever, if you're chasing those things and not chasing your purpose, you are destined for failure. But if you're chasing your purpose and you are seeking God's kingdom in your life, and that could be, when He says to seek His kingdom and His righteousness first, and all these things will be added unto you. You want to look at what exactly does that mean? When you are doing the will and the work of your Father, you are chasing after the kingdom. And when you're doing His work, when you are fulfilling what it is that He's called you to do, the beautiful thing is that the blessings, they overtake you. That's what He says in the Word. The blessings chase you. So, on that note, I am the Jason Hodge. I'm looking forward to connecting with you. If you want to reach out to me, be sure to DM me here on, whatever platform that you're on. Shoot me a message or go to jasonhodge.biz. You could also go to my page on Facebook, and that is facebook.com/TJH Media Ltd. And I look forward to more of these conversations. You have a great one. Catch you later.